Hi, welcome ESL 42 students to our reading lecture for week 8. Of course, as I said at the beginning of the vocabulary video, I thank you for your good thoughts and wishes for my mom's health. She is still in the hospital, and thank you for being patient while I upload these videos. All right, so this one starts on the reading book. Our reading book on page 181, and if you have not already read, annotated, and completed this chapter, please stop the video now, finish the reading and annotating, and then come back and do this. Okay, so I'm assuming that you've already annotated, and the first thing is you should have marked that first part. Authors use two common methods to show relationships and make their ideas clear. The two methods, transitions and patterns of organization, are explained in turn in this chapter. Okay, so we already know, if you'll turn the page, that transitions act like a bridge, or I think as I might have described it in class, like chokes of the cars of a train. The transition words hold each of your ideas together in a paragraph or an essay. So these are going to be important not only for your reading skills, but of course also for your writing skills. When we talk about addition words, we're talking about words that can be in any order. Addition words are like list words, in that we're just adding things to a list. The thing to remember is it doesn't matter the order, because that would be a time list. Whenever we have a list of items format using these words on page 183 in that box at the top, those words are for a list of items that doesn't matter the order. I think I might have given the example in class if you go to the grocery store. It doesn't matter if you buy milk, eggs, and bread, or bread, milk, and eggs. The order doesn't matter. You need those three items. So here, you could use these kind of list words. One thing I need is eggs. Also, I need bread. And finally, I need some milk. So you see, it doesn't matter what order. So we use these transitions to show any kind of list of items. Okay? The next words on page 185 show time relationships, and notice that things can be first on a list and first in time. So don't get fooled by that. So you have to look at the actual paragraph or the reading that you're looking at to determine if the order matters or not. Again, if the order doesn't matter, it's list. But if the order matters, for example, if you're giving instruction to somebody, the order, what you do, is important. So then you'd have to use time words. So for example, if I'm making a loaf of bread, I might say, first, you need to buy the ingredients. Next, you need to turn on the oven. After that, you need to, and you get the idea, you can't do the opposite. When you're giving instructions, it's usually you have to do things in a specific order or it doesn't work. So whenever things have to be done in a specific order, time words are what you use to do that. And just be aware that some of the time and list words are the same, because things can be second on a list and they can also be second in time. So don't just immediately think if you see first or second that it's a list or it's time. You'll have to, again, think while you're reading. Very important. Okay? Next thing is the pattern of organization. And then the first one they give you, actually you should underline the first sentences there on page 186 after patterns of organization. If you didn't mark these, please do. It says, you have learned that transitions show relationships between ideas and sentences. In the same way, patterns of organization show relationships between supporting details in paragraphs, essay, and chapters. It helps to recognize the common patterns in which authors arrange information. So if you didn't mark that, you should have, and you should mark it now. Okay? So, list of items pattern is addition words used in this pattern of organization. And time words are also sometimes used in the pattern of organization. So here we see a list of items. And at the bottom of the page it says a list of items refers to a series of reasons, examples, or other points that support an idea. So you should have marked that last sentence of the first sentence of the last paragraph on page 187 that has the bold-faced list of items so that you know what that is and you can review it quickly. And then the list of items pattern list words, again, they're very similar to the other list words we had. It might be almost exactly the same. So they're used in that pattern. And if you have any questions about the practices, of course, you can ask those at the beginning of our next class before we have our vocabulary test. Don't forget vocabulary test, Unit 2. Okay, the next thing is time order, and I think you're very clear by now. I've already described this on page 191. You see time order. They're either events, like we would be telling a story. Usually in storytelling, we use time order, because of course stories happen in time. So if I told you about my day yesterday, you don't want to know. First I got up early, then I went to the hospital, whatever, you get the idea. A series of events when you tell a story. Okay, the next thing is stages, and that's usually if we talk about, in science classes, maybe stages of growth. Babies go through certain stages of being an infant, and then a toddler, and then an adolescent, and then a teenager. You get the idea. So they go through stages as well. So first they're a fetus, then they're an infant, then they're a toddler. You get the idea. So both of these types of writing use time order list words to show that relationship. So whether you're giving someone instructions or telling a story, you're going to use time order transitions to do that in your writing, and of course be aware of it in your reading as well. And those discuss those things. Okay, and of course the three final points. Now I'm looking at page 197. I think that's the last page of this particular chapter. Please be careful to read those three final points carefully and ask me if you have any questions about those. Now, the last thing I asked you to do on the homework was review test 2. I'm reading my instructions here now. Yeah, that's page 199. So now I'm going to go ahead and review those answers to save time in class, and then we'll have some other practice work to do before we take our vocabulary test when we return on Thursday, next Thursday. All right, so looking at review test 2, if you've done it already, great, listen to the answers. If you haven't done it, please stop the video for a minute, do the answers, and then play the video and see how well you did. Thank you. All right, here we go. Review test 2. 1. Rubber tires were invented in 1845, before cars existed. At that time, the tires were meant for bicycles. So the answer is B, before. Number 2. The average square inch of human skin includes 19 million cells. It also includes 625 sweat glands and 60 hairs. A, also. Number 3. There are two main kinds of fat. One is saturated fats and the other is unsaturated fats. D, 1. On the next page, number 4, at the top of page 200, that's review test 2, it says, read the paragraph carefully and then answer the questions that follow. So number 4 is F, then. Next, first dig a hole and work peat moss. Peat moss is a kind of dirt or soil that's very good for growing plants. First dig a hole and work peat moss into the soil. Then put the plant and pile in enough dirt to refill the hole. The final step is to water the plant liberally, meaning a lot. Liberally means a lot. So the correct answer for 5 is C, final. That's an example of giving directions, right? First do this, then do that, time order. Okay, the last part of this one, part A, is 6. The first type of small business is often called the mom and pop operation. The majority of small businesses fall into this category. The second type is the high-growth enterprise. This type of business aims to outgrow its small business status as quickly as possible. The correct answer is E, second. And here you see this is just a list. It doesn't matter if we talk about the high-growth industry first or if we talk about the small business first. They both are types of business and it doesn't matter the order. So again, second in this case. And now the last part of this test, part B, you have a paragraph to read, and the answer to 7 is B. It's a time relationship. And the key word, transition word in sentence 2, of course, is after, a time word. And then 9, sentences 3 through 9 present a list of benefits people found in attending baseball games. So the correct answer for 9 is A, as in apple. And last, the transition word also. Would be one that you would use there. After and also would be acceptable in that answer, okay? All right, thank you very much. I'm going to finish this lecture now and hopefully load it up on Blackboard. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And again, thanks for your good thoughts for my mom and your understanding of the short lectures today. All right, goodbye.